if the cat would step off it. We have a neck that has got a bad bow in it. It's oh, climbing up my neck now. What are you doing? Oh, she wants to get up. No, she doesn't. She wants to hold me to hold her like this. I think I can do some of this with one hand just because it's only a video. The bow is very bad. It's shaped this way across the way. I've only got one hand. It's shaped that way, bow, right? Now, to straighten that up, some people will tell you it can't be done. You can't straighten the neck, right? But I had looked at several ways to do this, and I looked at Dave World of Fun Stuff, and his idea worked for him. But what worried me about that, let me just put this here to hold it, because I've got a pussycat on my other arm who won't let me be. She's missing her little friend. I'll check again, but Dave's World of Fun Stuff, he put pressure on the neck to bend out the thing over a couple of days. And I thought, yeah, that's great. And it worked for him. But the fibers of the wood are held together, I believe, with resin, the wood resin. And if you bend wood, it has a tendency to spring back to where it was again. So my idea was, first of all, my idea was to take off the gloss on there and wet it, and then put the pressure on, and that would allow the wood to be wetted and then dry. The worry I had about that, which I think would work, but the worry I had about that was you might leave yourself with a bulge, maybe if you didn't control the damp well enough. And would that bulge come away again? And I thought, well, I'm not going to take that risk. So then I thought, drill a couple of small holes and inject water in on both sides, up to not right up to the truss rod, but into the wood. And then I thought, that's not going to work either because it's just too random. So I thought, what else would make the wood stay in the same place? So what I've done, the cat's gone now, by the way. I can show you that there's that neck. And there's a straight edge on it. And you can see it's rocking, right? So what I think will work is, again, Georgie Girl comes to the rescue. It actually isn't Georgie Girl, it's a cat. It's a heated cat blanket, right? And you can see it's electric heated cat blanket. And I've already tested this. If I put the blanket in there and fold it over, it does get warm. It doesn't overheat, but it does get warm. But I don't want to put clamps on it. So what I'm going to do is get a piece of wood, put another couple of, maybe even a rolled up cloth. I'll give you an idea what I'm thinking. Just a rolled up cloth about there, and then put a piece of wood on, and then tie that piece of wood down at each end until the neck is bent. I'll just do it that way, sorry. Until the neck is bent to the shape I want it to be in, so that it'll be quite compact. You'd have a tie at one end and a tie at the other end, and you could adjust the ties to the right pressure that would bend that neck down. And then that would make a nice neat sandwich, and then I can wrap it up like that and put the heater on. I think it'd be a trial because I haven't done this before, but I would think that it would need a good full day of heat to make the difference. It does get relatively warm, but not too warm. So I'm going to try that, okay? Okay, it's been 5 hours, but not 5 hours solid. It's been 5 hours, I think maybe 4 or maybe even 5 hours last night and another couple of hours this morning. And I'm taking it off to see where we are because it may not be ready yet. And it may not be ready at all. It may not have done anything. But this is a cat blanket, as you can see. The temperature is just below 119 degrees, as I hope you can see. Yeah, I think you can see. And these blankets are just to keep the air inside. I actually don't recommend anybody else doing this, because it would be sort of, you're covering up blankets and you're doing things with the blanket. But if you are going to do it, and if it works, be very careful so you don't set the house on fire or something like that. So all I had was a small cloth in the to put the bend in. So what I use is a straight sort of, well, I don't care if it's straight or not, but it's sort of straight enough. And then I put a cloth in to give me the depth of the bend that I want. It's nice and warm. So let's see if it's done anything. Okay, I'll put it there and then I'll get my straight edge. Right, somebody's just telling me they're going to buy me lunch. Well, let's just see what the straight edge tells us, okay? To be honest, I do see about 1/4 of an inch difference. But what I'm going to do when I come back from lunch is I'm going to put it back in again and double up the cloth this time to that, and then put it back in the thing and clamp the two sides and try for longer and see. But it has done about 1/4 of an inch. The test will be if I can get it to where I want it to be with a slight underbow, and then leave it to chill back to room temperature and leave it for maybe a few days, which I'll come back to you on. Leave it for a few days and see if it's still there, or has the heat sufficiently allowed the resins inside the wood to reform. But that's all a test and see, okay? Well, gosh, dag nabbit. When I went to check it, it's about 5 hours later, the temperature had gone down to, where is that? 25 degrees. So this is not hot anymore, which may mean that the blanket has cut out. There might be some sort of safety feature. It went up to 120 for all of 4 hours yesterday. So I don't know how long it's been off now, but it feels not freezing but lukewarm, so I don't know what's happened. I'll check the fuse to make sure it's not the fuse, but let's do another check. It might be one of the problems of using a cat blanket folded over. You know, yeah, you never know. We'll see. We'll put that down there and we'll take the clamps off anyway, because I think it had maybe a few hours heat at the stronger I put the thicker wedge in. So we'll see what a few hours heat at 120, 110 degrees did. Yeah, it's warm enough to stick to the back of that. So, right, okay, off you go. Let's try this and see what the straight edge tells me. Excuse me, sniffing. Right, I don't see any difference from the last time. It did it a bit, but now I don't know where we are with the blanket. So I'm going to check the fuse in the blanket, see if I can get the blanket to work again. It could be just a fuse, and if it is, we'll try it again and put a little bit more pressure on. This is an experiment. I'm not worried about saving this neck, but it's an experiment. So it'd be nice if that blanket was working again. Okay, let's check it. All right. Okay, the blanket might have triggered itself off. The fuse was fine in the blanket, but I changed plug outlets and put it back on. But this time I didn't clip the edges, just in case the clipping clipped something that was too, you know, you're clipping two parts. You're clipping two parts of the blanket together, and maybe that clipped and overheated. So it's going off now because it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and I don't want to leave it on overnight, especially with people in the house, like my cats. those people. So I'll put it on tomorrow all day and see what happens. 120 degrees inside here. And what I'm trying to do is a permanent neck change. I've used clamps and stress before, but that didn't keep the neck permanently in position. So what I'm trying to do now is stress and clamps and heat. So I use my rusty, trusty cat blanket, which got me up to 120 degrees. And it's been on now for 6 hours, maybe 7 hours, and an hour last night. So let's just see what we have. If this does not work, I have one other thing I might try, which is encasing the neck in a plastic bag with a damp cloth. And the damp cloth may then dampen the wood down without making it swell. But let's just see how this gets on. Ooh, there's lovely and warm. Lovely and warm. Right, okay, and I feel the heat coming off this. I like it, I like it, I like it. So let's see where we are. Let's just move that back out of the way. It's unplugged now. And move that here. And get the straight edge and see, are we going to be happy or do we need to do more? Right, let's just see. Right, that has virtually straightened the neck. The truss rod's completely loose, deliberately completely loose. So that is perfectly straight neck. But will it stay like that? So I'm going to do nothing with it, believe it or not, but let it sit until it cools down, leave it a day or so, and then come back and measure it again. Let me just check if that's perfectly straight. There's maybe a millimeter of a bend still in it. So we'll come back in a day or so, let it cool down, I'll put it in another room and see if that has kept the bend out of it. I would like it to have had an underbow. But we'll see. Okay, all right, cheers. Right, as we go along, we change our eye direction. What I've decided to do is let it cool down with the stress on it to see if we might just get that tiny little underbow, okay? Goodness gracious me. I've left this now, actually, I forgot about it, and I've left it 10 days with the strength, with the bow on it. Do you remember the program that was on TV in England called Goodness Gracious Me, about an Asian family? It was very, very funny, although they couldn't do that now because the Asian family made fun of itself, and you're not allowed to make fun of anybody nowadays, although I do. Anyway, we're going to loosen this off. Afraid to see what I might actually have a bow and arrow here, but here we go. Loosen these off and then check the neck to see where we are with it. Maybe it's done nothing after sitting for almost, must be 10 days actually. It's been sitting like that. Right, okay, let's see what we've got. All right, we'll try the straight edge on it. And here we are. Right, that neck is perfectly straight. Perfectly straight. There's no bow anywhere. But will it stay? So let's give it another few days to see. Let me just see what we got now. I have a truss rod. The truss rod still is still loose. I wish it had a bit of an underbow on it, because then you can do something with it, unless you had a two-way truss rod, but we don't have a two-way truss rod. Okay, so give it another couple of days and see what it's like if it has gone back to the way it was. Okay, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. An Encore, a nice little Encore. It was given to me as an unfinished guitar, and I just put it together. Now, I didn't show you much about this one because there's not a lot to show, but look at the beautiful action it has on it. And that's important because this is the neck that was bent all out of shape, and I put it under the heat treatment. Let you see what it's like. Now, it's just a little Encore, but it plays beautifully. One of my favorite guitars, the Encore. And the action down there is wonderful. Better than my playing. Now, when it came, it had a black pickguard on. So I took the black pickguard off and put on a cream one, which threw out the color really beautiful. It's actually a stunning color. It's blue with a little tiny hint of metallic red in it, and it's a beautiful little guitar. Encores are good, even though they say they're not. I like them, but I'm not going to play anything on it because it's just to show you the neck, how nice it is. Okay, that's all. Ciao, ciao.